Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to uncover a truth that has been hidden in plain sight, a secret that has the power to transform not only your bank account, but the very atmosphere of your life. It is not found in numbers, charts, or strategies alone, for the greatest wealth is not counted in gold or silver. It is first discovered in the infinite realm of your own mind. The world's biggest money secret is a law, a spiritual principle, an unwavering truth that has governed the lives of those who attract abundance naturally, effortlessly, and joyously. We are often taught to struggle for money, to toil and sweat in order to claim it, believing that wealth comes only through external effort. But the secret, my friends, lies far beyond the grasp of labor or luck. It is a principle of thought, of vision, and of faith. The mind, like a garden, bears whatever seeds you plant within it. Sow the seeds of fear, scarcity, and doubt, and the harvest will be a life of limitation and lack. But plant the seeds of prosperity, expectation, and divine right, and the universe conspires to bring forth a bounty that exceeds your wildest dreams. Understand that money, like energy, flows naturally to those who recognize their worth and align with the infinite source of all supply. It is not coerced or begged. It is invited through the law of thought and spoken word. When you affirm your abundance with conviction, when you see yourself already in possession of what you desire, the doors of opportunity swing open, and the channels of fortune are free to pour into your life. The world's biggest money secret is not merely acquiring money. It is the understanding that wealth is your natural inheritance, and no outside circumstance can ever deny you of it once you claim it as yours in consciousness. Many stumble because they mistake the method for the message. They chase numbers, investments, and fleeting gains, all the while neglecting the unseen power within them. Yet, it is in the quiet thought, the confident affirmation, and the unwavering belief in the unseen that true riches are drawn. Money is the visible expression of invisible law. It responds instantly to mental decree, to the attitude of abundance, to the heart that knows it is already supplied. And so we stand at the threshold of revelation, ready to embrace a truth so simple, so profound, that it transforms struggle into ease, lack into plenty, and fear into freedom. The world's biggest money secret is not reserved for a chosen few. It is a divine principle available to all who are ready to claim it, to speak it, and to live it with joyous expectancy. Today, let us open our minds, clear our doubts, and allow the divine current of prosperity to flow unhindered. Let us recognize that abundance is not earned, it is realized. And as we step forward, let the invisible law work through us, bringing every blessing, every opportunity, and every prosperity that our heart can hold, for the universe delights in fulfilling the desires of those who know the secret and dare to live it. Every individual carries within the silent chambers of the mind a treasure far greater than any vault of gold or bank of silver. This treasure is not measured in coins, nor is it weighed by worldly scales. It is measured by the expansiveness of thought and the purity of belief. Wealth, in its truest sense, is not something that can be sought outside, for the outer world is but a reflection of the inner consciousness. To claim abundance, one must first awaken to the understanding that money, prosperity, and opportunity respond to the mental and spiritual attitudes we cultivate within. The mind is the workshop in which the conditions of our life are first conceived, and every act, every experience, and every manifestation of wealth has its root in the invisible soil of thought. Many people labor under the delusion that external circumstances are the creators of their financial condition. They look to jobs, businesses, investments, or inheritance as the source of their prosperity, and yet these are but instruments, channels, or mirrors. They can amplify or manifest the inner condition, but they cannot create it independently. The mind is the master artist, and the world of form is the canvas. Whatever the mind conceives and believes with unwavering faith is eventually drawn into the visible world. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, or limitation, the harvest will be a life circumscribed by struggle and deprivation. On the other hand, if you plant seeds of confidence, expectation, and clarity, the universe conspires to bring forth riches in ways both seen and unseen. It is essential to recognize that thought is magnetic. Every idea you hold in mind, whether spoken aloud or quietly cherished, radiates a vibration that attracts corresponding circumstances. When the mind is focused upon poverty, lack, or insufficiency, it sends forth a signal that the outer world must answer. Conversely, when the mind dwells upon abundance, opportunity, and prosperity, it sets in motion forces that align with those ideals. This is not wishful thinking, it is the universal law of cause and effect applied to consciousness. The world will always reflect what is held firmly in the mind, for the unseen is the true creator, and the seen is only the effect. Belief is the engine of this creative power. Mere wishing or idle hoping is insufficient, for the universe recognizes only conviction. To believe in your ability to attract wealth, to know in your heart that abundance is. Your natural right is to issue a silent command that the law cannot ignore. Belief does not argue with circumstances, nor does it allow temporary appearances to cloud its certainty. It moves steadily, unwaveringly, confident that what is conceived in thought and felt with emotion will manifest in form. The mind that believes is like a magnet, drawing experiences, people, opportunities, and resources that correspond with its inner picture of prosperity. Many have wondered why some individuals seem to acquire wealth effortlessly, while others struggle despite equal effort. The answer lies not in talent, luck, or circumstance, but in the mental attitudes that dominate their inner life. Those who attract abundance consistently hold a mental image of success. They visualize their desires clearly, affirm them daily, and guard against the intrusion of fear or doubt. Their thoughts are disciplined, their words are deliberate, and their emotions are aligned with the expectation of receiving. The law does not recognize hesitation or vacillation. It responds only to the clarity, intensity, and persistence of thought, combined with the power of belief. It is also important to understand that the mind does not distinguish between imaginary experiences and real experiences when accompanied by strong feeling. If you imagine yourself living in abundance, experiencing freedom, and enjoying prosperity as though it were already true, the mind accepts this as reality and begins to work toward its fulfillment. Visualization and affirmation are not mere exercises, they are practical tools of creation. When thoughts are held with conviction and accompanied by the feeling of reality, they become seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness, destined to bear fruit in the outer world. Fear and doubt are the greatest obstacles to the manifestation of wealth. When the mind entertains thoughts of insufficiency, worry, or despair, it not only blocks the flow of prosperity, but actively attracts circumstances that confirm the belief. The outer world is obedient to the inner decree, and the law of mind knows no exceptions. A person who doubts their ability to receive abundance may work tirelessly, yet their efforts will be scattered, misdirected, or fruitless, because the inner thought is in contradiction with the desired outcome. To overcome this, one must replace negative thoughts with affirmative ones, to speak and think in terms of abundance, opportunity, and rightful possession, and to trust in the infinite supply that is available to all who recognize it. The mind that understands the principles of creation sees every setback not as a denial of wealth, but as a signal to adjust the inner vision. Challenges are not barriers but pointers, urging the individual to examine their beliefs and correct any mental patterns of limitation. Every difficulty presents an opportunity to strengthen faith, to clarify thought, and to hold steadily to the picture of abundance. In this way, the mind becomes not only a receiver but a director, consciously shaping reality rather than being shaped by circumstance. Gratitude is another vital aspect of the wealth-creating mind. When one focuses upon what is already present and expresses appreciation for it, the mind attunes to the frequency of abundance. Gratitude expands consciousness, opens channels of provision, and multiplies every blessing. It signals to the universe that you recognize the abundance around you and are ready to receive more. In contrast, complaining, comparing, or lamenting scarcity creates vibration that repels prosperity and keeps the mind in a state of contraction. Thought, belief, visualization, affirmation, and gratitude together form the invisible architecture of financial reality. The mind, and disciplined and aligned with the law of abundance, becomes an inexhaustible source of creation. There is no limit to the wealth that can be drawn when thought is clear, belief is unwavering, and the heart is open to receive. Every great fortune, every successful enterprise, and every prosperous life begins first in the silent sanctuary of the mind. Those who recognize this principle understand that true wealth is not something outside of themselves to be pursued, it is something within themselves to be realized, expressed, and allowed to flow forth into the world. Each individual carries within themselves a value that is infinite, a worth that cannot be diminished by circumstance, opinion, or temporary appearances. This inner recognition of personal value is the key that unlocks the natural flow of money and abundance. Wealth does not arrive by force, nor does it require striving beyond one's rightful place. It comes naturally, effortlessly, and continuously to those who first recognize that they are inherently worthy of it. The universe responds to self-recognition, to self-respect, and to the confident understanding that one is entitled to the fullness of life. Those who claim their abundance with clarity of heart and mind become like channels through which prosperity can freely flow, unimpeded by resistance or doubt. Many are unaware that their own beliefs about self-worth are the primary determinants of financial reception. A person who undervalues themselves subconsciously sets up barriers to prosperity. They may work diligently, sacrifice tirelessly, and yet find their efforts met with limited results. The law is impartial. It responds only to the belief that one deserves to receive. To recognize your worth is not arrogance. It is the alignment with truth, the acknowledgement of divine inheritance, and the understanding that your creative power is equal to yo, or desire. When the mind and heart embrace this truth, money becomes a natural accompaniment to life, rather than a struggle to be achieved. Claiming abundance is a declaration to the universe that you are ready to receive all that is rightfully yours. It is not a matter of begging, bargaining, or pleading. It is a matter of understanding that supply is infinite and that you are a natural recipient of the flow. This claiming begins internally, with conscious affirmation and vision. To see oneself living in comfort, enjoying the fruits of effort, and contributing generously to others, is to establish a mental image that the law cannot ignore. Money, being energy, responds to the clarity of this mental image and the firmness of belief, moving toward the one who knows their value and acknowledges the rightful possession of abundance. The mind is the magnet through which wealth is attracted, and the measure of its magnetic power is the recognition of self-worth. Those who question their value, who feel undeserving, or who compare themselves unfavorably with others, repel the very blessings they desire. Every thought of unworthiness is a blockage in the channel of provision, a signal to the law that abundance is not to be delivered. Conversely, when the mind is attuned to its own value, when the heart knows its divine inheritance, money, opportunity, and resources flow as naturally as rivers to the sea. This flow is not dependent upon external effort alone. It is dependent upon the inner state of consciousness, upon the unwavering knowledge that you are entitled to receive and capable of managing abundance wisely. Many fail to understand that claiming abundance requires both faith and clarity. Faith without clarity is blind. Clarity without faith is weak. When you combine the two, you establish a powerful command to the invisible forces of the universe, to affirm daily, to visualize yourself in possession of the wealth you desire, and to act as if it is already yours, is to align with the natural current of provision. The universe cannot withhold what you claim with truth and courage, for the law of abundance is impartial and responds to the vibration of deservingness. Each act of claiming, spoken aloud or held in thought, strengthens the channel and expands the capacity to receive. Self-worth is expressed not only in thought but in action. Those who recognize their value invest in themselves, honor their talents, and express confidence in their endeavors. The law of compensation responds to this expression, sending resources, connections, and opportunities to those who carry themselves as worthy recipients. The person who undervalues themselves often refuses the good that comes their way, hesitates in opportunity, or sabotages their own efforts through doubt and indecision. By contrast, the one who claims abundance with assurance becomes a magnet for money, not because they are better or luckier than others, but because they are in harmony with the principle that recognizes worth and responds with provision. It is important to understand that claiming abundance is not selfishness, nor is it contrary to spiritual principles. On the contrary, recognizing your worth allows you to give freely, share generously, and contribute to the well-being of others without fear or hesitation. Wealth is a reflection of consciousness. As your recognition of worth expands, so too does the ability to create and distribute abundance. The universe delights in fulfilling the desires of those who honor themselves and claim their rightful place in the flow of life. Gratitude enhances this recognition and accelerates the flow of money. When you express appreciation for what you have already received, no matter how small, you signal to the universe that you are reattuned to abundance and prepared for more. Gratitude strengthens the sense of worth, deepens confidence, and opens channels that might otherwise remain closed. Those who claim abundance without gratitude risk remaining in a state of constant striving, for the law responds not only to assertion but also to appreciation. The mind of the person who claims abundance is disciplined and intentional. It does not dwell on lack, misfortune, or comparison. It does not entertain doubt or entertain thoughts of inadequacy. Instead, it focuses consistently upon the recognition of value, the clear image of desired wealth, and the confident expectation that the universe will supply it. This inner alignment ensures that money flows naturally, in harmony with personal integrity and spiritual principle. The outer world becomes the mirror of this inner state, reflecting opportunities, resources, and success in proportion to the recognition of worth within. Those who understand this principle live in a state of ease, knowing that the law of provision is impartial, infinite, and responsive. They do not chase money with desperation or anxiety, but they act with purpose, decisiveness, and assurance, trusting that every rightful desire will find its manifestation. Money becomes a tool of expression, creativity, and freedom, flowing to them in response to the alignment of thought, belief, and recognition of personal worth. The secret is simple yet profound. The more fully you recognize your value and claim your abundance, the more freely wealth will flow, naturally, effortlessly, and continuously. Fear, doubt, and the consciousness of scarcity are the most powerful barriers that stand between the individual and the natural flow of abundance. They are invisible chains that bind the mind, restrict vision, and divert the channels of prosperity into stagnation. The universe responds to the dominant vibration of thought, and when the mind is occupied with worry, lack, or hesitation, it creates a magnetic field that attracts circumstances of limitation. Fear whispers that there is not enough. Doubt convinces that success is improbable, and scarcity convinces the soul that to receive more would be dangerous or undeserved. These mental states, although subtle, are enormously effective in blocking the natural currents of money, opportunity, and well-being. Affirmations, when spoken with faith, are the antidote to this mental blockage. Every word carries vibration, and every thought holds energy that influences both the inner world and the outer manifestation. To repeat affirmations of prosperity, security, and abundance is to send a command to the invisible law that you are ready to receive, capable of managing, and deserving of wealth. Faith gives these affirmations life. Without belief, they remain empty words, but when faith accompanies them, they become seeds of creation, planting a new reality in the fertile soil of consciousness. Repetition, feeling, and visualization strengthen their power, ensuring that the mind is aligned with the law rather than resisting it through fear or doubt. Doubt acts like a shadow over intention. It questions, hesitates, and diminishes the energy of desire. The mind cannot both doubt and create simultaneously. It is either in alignment with abundance or in alignment with limitation. Every time doubt enters, it interrupts the flow, and the channels of provision become obstructed. By consciously replacing doubt with affirmation and by declaring certainty where uncertainty once reigned, the mind opens pathways for the law of prosperity to operate freely. Faith, then, is the bridge between thought and manifestation, connecting the invisible source of supply to the tangible expression of money and opportunity. Fear is equally powerful as a barrier. It is a vibration of resistance, often arising from past experiences, societal conditioning, or imagined lack in the future. Yet the law is impartial. It responds not to imagination of failure, but to the thought impressed upon it with conviction. When fear dominates, the law mirrors that fear in the form of obstacles, delays, and scarcity, creating a cycle that reinforces itself. Recognizing fear, naming it, and consciously replacing it with affirmations of courage, abundance, and divine protection breaks this cycle. The moment the mind chooses faith over fear, the current of wealth, opportunity, and prosperity flows unhindered once again. Scarcity consciousness is a subtle but persistent thief of wealth. It manifests as worry about not having enough, anxiety over resources, or hesitation in spending or investing. Those who live in the consciousness of scarcity unknowingly signal to the universe that lack is their chosen reality. Conversely, a mindset rooted in sufficiency, abundance, and trust in infinite supply sends a magnetic vibration that draws resources effortlessly. To dwell in abundance mentally is to create the outer reality of abundance materially. Thought, belief, and expectation shape all that is seen, and scarcity is simply the outward echo of inward fear and doubt. Affirmations, combined with visualization and the firm feeling of faith, act like a key unlocking the doors that fear and doubt have closed. By consistently declaring statements of wealth, security, and provision, and by seeing oneself already in possession of the desired outcome, the law is compelled to respond. Faith does not question, does not hesitate, and does not fear. It knows the invisible law of supply is impartial, infinite, and ever-present, and it holds steadfast to the certainty that every rightful need and desire will be met in perfect order and timing. Many spend their lives chasing numbers, strategies, and calculations, believing that wealth is a product of external effort alone. They pore over accounts, analyze trends, and strive tirelessly to manipulate circumstances in their favor, yet often find that prosperity remains elusive. True riches, however, are not obtained by these outward measures alone. They flow naturally to those who understand that money, like every form of manifestation, responds first to invisible principles and universal laws. The unseen law governs all creation, and alignment with it brings wealth effortlessly, without struggle, without worry, and without dependence on external validation. The unseen law is impartial, ever-present, and eternal. It does not judge the size of ambition, the number of hours worked, or the cleverness of a strategy. It responds to consciousness, thought, and belief, drawing to the individual whatever corresponds to their inner state. Those who understand this principle recognize that their mental attitude, their spoken words, and the clarity of their vision are the true architects of wealth. Outer methods, numbers, and plans are secondary. They serve merely as tools, conduits, or expressions of what has already been created in the invisible realm. The law moves first within the mind and heart, then manifests in form. To align with the unseen law is to cultivate a consciousness of expectation, faith, and certainty. It is to know inwardly that abundance is not only possible but inevitable, that the source of supply is infinite, and that every rightful desire will find manifestation. The mind that dwells upon lack, limitation, or failure signals resistance to the law, creating blocks and delays in the flow of wealth. By contrast, the mind that focuses upon prosperity, envisions success, and speaks in terms of positive affirmation opens channels through which riches move freely and naturally. The law cannot deny the command issued by unwavering belief, and it honors the thought that is steady, confident, and aligned with the principle of abundance. Many confuse hard work, skillful calculation, or strategic planning with the creative power of alignment. While effort and planning may appear to produce results, they are insufficient when unaccompanied by inner harmony with universal law. the person who relies solely on strategies without cultivating belief, faith, and mental clarity, often struggles, experiences frustration, or encounters unexpected setbacks. By contrast, those who align their thinking with the law experience a sense of ease, opportunity, and timely provision. Their work is multiplied, doors open spontaneously, and circumstances often appear to conspire in their favor because they have first created in the unseen realm, and the outer world simply mirrors the inner truth. Alignment with the unseen law also requires releasing attachment to the method, the number, or the immediate outcome. Obsession with measurement, calculation, or timing can create tension, doubt, and resistance, which repel the very wealth one seeks. The mind must trust the law implicitly, confident that the invisible source knows the way, the time, and the method to deliver the desired results. Patience, faith, and unwavering expectation are essential, for the law moves according to principle, not haste or human urgency. Those who learn to release control, to act in faith, and to maintain a clear mental image of abundance, experience a flow of wealth that far surpasses what could ever be achieved by numbers or strategy alone. Understanding that true riches come from alignment changes the approach to life, work, and money. It encourages a focus on mental discipline, clarity of vision, affirmation, and faith, rather than worry, struggle, or manipulate. The individual begins to see money as an expression of the invisible law, a reflection of inner consciousness, and a tool for expressing creativity, generosity, and purpose. Effort becomes harmonious rather than desperate, and strategy becomes guided rather than forced, because it flows naturally from alignment with the universal principle of abundance. Abundance is not something to be earned, begged, or borrowed. It is the natural birthright of every soul. Each individual comes into this world with a divine inheritance, a limitless supply of prosperity, joy, and opportunity, waiting to be realized. The key to receiving this inheritance lies not in the outer circumstances, the economy, or the actions of others, but in the alignment of thought, the careful use of words, and the unwavering expectation that what is promised by the universe is already yours. When the mind, speech, and belief are in harmony, the invisible law cannot refuse the manifestation of the riches that are rightfully yours, for it is merely responding to the inner truth that has been impressed upon it. Thought is the foundation of this divine inheritance. Whatever occupies the mind consistently is what the law recognizes as the desired reality. When the mind dwells upon limitation, struggle, or lack, it unconsciously denies the birthright of abundance and creates a corresponding reflection in the outer world. Conversely, when the mind is focused upon prosperity, opportunity, and the fulfillment of needs and desires, it sends a clear and magnetic signal to the universe that abundance is to be realized. Thought, when directed with purpose, is not mere speculation. It is the creative force that shapes every aspect of material life, drawing into form what the soul already possesses invisibly. Words are the next step in claiming your divine inheritance. Speech is the voice of thought, and every woe. R&D carries vibration. To speak in terms of limitation, worry, or scarcity is to affirm the very condition you wish to avoid. To speak in terms of abundance, possibility, and rightful possession is to declare your alignment with the law of supply. Affirmations, declarations, and positive statements act as keys that unlock channels of provision, and they reinforce the inner belief that abundance is already yours. The universe does not distinguish between internal thought and spoken word when accompanied by conviction. Both are equally powerful in impressing the law and drawing forth the manifestation of wealth. Expectation is the invisible engine that propels thought and word into tangible reality. To expect abundance is to act in faith, to maintain certainty, and to hold a clear image of the desired outcome without question or hesitation. Expectation signals to the law that you are ready, deserving, and capable of receiving. It eliminates doubt, fear, and hesitation, which are the only forces that obstruct the flow of prosperity. Expectation is not passive, it is active, confident, and unwavering, creating a mental atmosphere in which wealth, opportunity, and success can move freely. Those who maintain this mental attitude find that circumstances align, opportunities appear, and provision flows naturally, for the law of supply responds instantly to the vibration of expectation. Recognizing abundance as a divine inheritance changes the approach to every action and decision. Work becomes a channel rather than a struggle, giving becomes an expression rather than a loss, and receiving becomes a natural acceptance rather than an act of negotiation. The individual no longer fears insufficiency, measures every coin anxiously, or doubts the future, because the inner consciousness is aware that the supply is infinite and that the inheritance cannot be denied. This awareness brings peace, clarity, and joy, reinforcing the mental conditions that attract even greater prosperity. The alignment of thought, word, and expectation creates a state of consciousness in which abundance flows effortlessly. Every act, every decision, and every opportunity becomes a reflection of the inner reality already established. The mind that knows itself to be the rightful heir of all good sees evidence everywhere, attracts resources easily, and moves confidently in the path of provision. The invisible law, which governs all manifestation, responds naturally to this alignment, bringing into form the riches, opportunities, and successes that are the birthright of every soul, for the universe delights in fulfilling the desires of those who recognize and claim their divine inheritance through conscious thought, deliberate speech, and steadfast expectation.